You're listening to Parasearch Radio, news, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. Parasearch UK Radio. Parasearch Radio, broadcasting to the UK and beyond.
The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch Radio or its affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Supernaturelle show. Go with us. So, how are you today, Jen?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Okay. Hello,
Jo, are you there?
Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Hello.
Jo?
Hello? What's happened? Can't hear you.
Jo?
Right, we've got them all in. I don't know quite where they are, darling. So Nick should still be with you, and so should Jo.
Nick, are you still there?
I'm here.
Well, I have no idea what's happening there, guys. I do apologise for the technical difficulties that we seem to be experiencing this evening. So I am here. You've got Gemma with you tonight, and Jolene is here somewhere. She may well pop up at some point. Tonight's guest is the wonderful Nick Stoppani. Hi, Nick. How are you?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you. I'm fine. Technology these days, guys, I tell you, it really does rife with us all.
Absolutely shocking, isn't it, Nick, eh?
Well, the way I look at it is you move on.
I think we're doing that very well this evening. So, Nick, for the listeners at home, can you just tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Of course I can, yeah. I'm born in Northamptonshire, raised in Northamptonshire, and I live in Northamptonshire. And from a very early age, I was involved in acting and in theatre, and that was my sort of like step into the entertainment industry, really. And it was when I was working at a theatre in the centre of England in Northampton, and I had my very first paranormal experience. I was only, I'd say, about 18, 19 at the time. And do you know what? I was petrified, but it hooked me. And ever since that moment, I've been wanting more.
What is it that happened, Nick? What was your experience?
Well, I was working on panto, and for anybody that has ever been to, especially a repertory theatre, pantomime, you'd know it's very traditional sort of style of panto. But, the energy is absolutely through the roof, especially with coachloads of school kids turning up.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, I was on follow spot. I was part of the stage crew, and I was right up in the gods of the Royal Theatre in Northampton, and I had a cue stand, and this was during a performance. My cue stand shot across the auditorium, and I didn't know what the heck was going on. And I tell you what, I had to I had to leave the theatre, and the stage manager, I never forget her name, Judy Cheeseman, her name was, bless her, a credit of a lady she is, and she sat me down and she said, look, Nick, it's very natural to, what you've experienced, because it's an old building. Not that the age of a building has got anything to do with any typical haunting, because in my opinion, it's got nothing to do with it. But I tell you what, from that moment on, I was absolutely hooked.
Oh my God. That sounds very interesting. So that was your first experience then, Nick. And like you say, you have been in entertainment for quite some while now.
I have, yeah.
It's not just theatre work that you've done, is it, Nick?
If not, no. I've done television, radio, street performing, any sort of performance on there.
So, Nick, can you hear me now?
Oh my God, Joe's just appeared.
Oh my goodness me, we have Joe back live on the
And you know what, Nick? You know what she says, don't you? She's like, back as if by magic.
That's right, absolutely. It was a pleasure to have you back.
Oh, thank you. Oh, well, do you know what? I don't know what happened then, Gemma. I was just like, 1 minute I was talking to you, the next it was like, oh, okay then.
Well, that was very strange. So I don't know how much of that have you heard? I've
heard quite a bit, because I didn't want to interrupt anybody and I didn't want to say anything out loud. So I was just kind of like, right, okay. So yeah, I already kind of got that. Obviously, Nick's in the entertainment industry, but also does quite a lot on TV. I know quite a bit about you, Nick, obviously, but some of our listeners obviously wouldn't.
That's right, yeah.
But we talk about absolutely anything on the show. So we talk about anything from the paranormal right through to, the taboo subjects that people don't really like to talk about. So like UFOs and things like that. So what's your take on, the whole paranormal stroke supernatural side of?
Well, I can only talk on and give comment on things that I've experienced firsthand. Anything else is just a story in my eyes. But you talk about UFOs. I've got a good friend and colleague of mine called Claudine, and she lives in Wales. And we go to a peak of a mountain, and I always get this wrong, Blorange, I think the name of the mountain is, because I call it Blancmange. That's the way I remember it. But I was up there with Claudine. Nothing naughty, guys, I have to say. And we were literally, we were seeing these bright orange lights, and they were miles away, but they were darting about all over the place. Absolutely, and unfortunately, they wouldn't pick up clearly enough on our mobile phone. We decided to record, but we just didn't. It didn't do it justice. You had to be there. You had to see it. Now, I'm not saying it is a UFO. I mean, to me, it's a UFO because it's an unidentified flying object. But the fact is, I've spoken to people who are so adamant that they've been what's the word I'm looking for? They've been visited. They have been visited by what they truly, truly believe from a different planet. This entity, it's not human, But again, I wasn't there, so I can't fully comment on it because I didn't see it. If I did see it with my eyes, then I would be able to give a decent answer.
Mm.
But what's your views, girls?
Jo?
To be honest, I believe that we aren't the only life forms that are on this solar system. I think there's far more out there than what NASA and everybody else care to mention. So yeah, I totally believe that we're not very forthcoming as a race. The technology that we have at the moment, I think there is races out there that are far more sophisticated than us in order to be able to travel to our planet and things like that. So that is my view anyway. I believe that we aren't alone.
Yeah, you see, I would go with that. How can we be? How can we be the only life form in this solar system?
No chance.
I just think it's impossible. At the end of the day, There is so much out there, so much space, literally space.
But it is though. When you actually, when you really seriously think about it, it is mind-boggling, isn't it? It really,
Very much
when
so.
you put your mind to it, and it even, I mean, literally last night before I arrived home, I stood outside my house and I looked up a starry night. It was gorgeous, but do you know what I mean? It goes on forever.
But isn't it so pretty though when you look outside and you can just see a clear night and you look at the stars and you think, I actually wonder what is out there.
Exactly.
I think, yeah, it is. It's beautiful. It really is. But did you know that the atmospherics play a very, very, I'm a firm believer, and I've took part in many paranormal investigations. And I tell you what, when the sky is nice and clear and the weather's nice, my gosh, that really does make a difference.
Totally. My son used to have a telescope and we used to spend hours just looking and seeing what we could discover and trying to spot all the stars, and he absolutely loved it. We could sit and do that for hours.
No, it's great, and I think it's important for the young ones to do that, to take an active role in doing that, because it is, effectively it's our planet, isn't it? It's our universe.
Exactly.
It is part of our lives.
Exactly.
I think I think a lot of kids though they get bullied for they have like interest in the paranormal or into astronomy and things like that. So I think the kids nowadays do get a raw deal, don't they? I think the majority of them have their faces in the mobile phones, and there's no enjoyment anymore, is there, by looking things up? They just hold their phone up to the sky now and say, "Oh, that's so and so." This is Cassiopeia, and
you don't actually have to try and discover what's what anymore. You can get apps that do that for you.
It's just the boring way round of doing it, though, isn't it?
It is, but it's also we've got to remember that's the way the world's going, isn't it?
Yeah.
But as we've just proved tonight, technology isn't always the way forward.
Technology, that's the thing. It lets you down every so often, or is that human error?
Well, I'm not saying that tonight was human error.
Oh dear. But no, Nick, obviously you've been within the paranormal for quite a while, haven't you? So...
I've been. To be honest, I've been for the first after that experience back in, I can't remember when I was 18, 19 years old. I was in it for a good 10 years at least, and then I decided to totally come out of it. I didn't want to do anything paranormal whatsoever. I just wanted to, because my passion is light entertainment, and that is where I thrive. And I just wanted to concentrate on that. I had a personal situation going on. I didn't want nothing to do with it whatsoever. And then what does it do? It comes and bite me on the old bum, and I'm back in it now.
So what sort of challenges? Yeah, what sort of challenges do you face like every day? Obviously, knowing that you wanted to be in light entertainment, and you've actually fallen back into the paranormal again.
Oh, do you know what? This business is such a fickle business. It really, really is. It's, but I'm so grateful no matter what I'm doing, whether it's voiceovers, whether it's a bit of producing, whether it's presenting, a bit of directing. I don't do much directing, but I've helped out with bits and bobs over the years. But one thing, I am so grateful to be working, and I'm so grateful to be doing what I enjoy. That's the most important thing that I say to the young ones that message me. Do you know what they say? They say, Nick, I want to be famous. I say, stop there, right? Fame, you could go out and you could do the most disgusting thing. That will make you famous. You see, the word celebrity, the celebrity is branded about these days. It really is. And I was brought up in, obviously, the 80s, and for me, they wouldn't have stars like they do nowadays.
No, but that is the problem now, though, isn't it, Nick? Because we do tend to get that quite a lot, especially in the paranormal industry. A lot of people believe that you can come into the paranormal industry and become famous.
Yeah, Absolutely.
When in actual fact, for me, I personally think that doing it for fame is the wrong reasons to be doing
absolutely.
it.
Yeah.
I do it because I've got a passion for it and because I love doing it. I love the unknown and the adrenaline rush that you get from it.
And do you know what? Having said that, Gemma, the thing that strikes me, and I nowadays, if anything negative comes my way, I just tend to just brush it off and ignore it.
Yeah.
And there's
that's all you can do, though, isn't it, nowadays?
I think that's the sensible thing to do.
Because there's always somebody who wants to pull somebody else down because it makes them feel better about themselves. We see it day in, day out. We hear it all the time, and it's such a sad place that we live that people have to do that.
It's even now though. I think to myself, why? You know, I'm a firm believer. You know, the more positive you put out, you'll get that back. And I tell you something, the law of attraction has changed my life. It has changed my life.
Do you not think though sometimes it is really hard to be positive?
Of course it is. I'm not. It's public knowledge. I was suicidal at one point in my life, and we all have troubles and worries going on in our lives. And the thing that saved me was mindfulness, and I try to practice that daily. But there's times, guys, that you just don't do it. Yeah, but that's life. Yeah, that is life. As long as you get back on the horse and you have a little trot, and then you try a little canter.
Yeah, well, I just like I'm sure many listeners are very pleased to say that you did bounce back, Nick, because
I did.
You definitely met the world a more cheerful place, that is for sure.
Oh, that means a lot. Honestly, I'm not just saying that. That really, really does mean so much to me.
It is, because the ability to actually make somebody smile and to make somebody laugh is not a very easy, it's not very easy to do that these days. And for you to actually come out and actually say that you've had a mental health problem is absolutely amazing, because a lot of men don't actually speak out about it. And for you to do that, that's just, I just find that I really admire you for that.
Thank you. I mean, I said this publicly when, because I used to work for Loose Women. I did warm up for ITV Loose Women. And when they, I don't want to go majorly into that, but it's been all over the news. They did a piece with, I think Kim Woodburn, the lady from How Clean Is Your House? Now, clearly there's a lady that has got...
subject there, isn't it?
Absolutely, But I said publicly that if I was on that show that day, I would have walked with Kim. Regardless whether you like Kim or not, I'm talking about the pure fact.
The lady's got issues. She needs help, without absolutely. A doubt.
But when and clearly it's an entertainment show, yes. But my gosh, there's a line to be drawn. There really is, and that got me worked up.
Yeah, I think it's people's real lives, though, isn't it? And people, I know, obviously, people don't, depends on what the sort of person is, but a lot of people aren't open, and a lot of people don't speak to anybody. They don't seek help, and they just literally, they spiral down into that horrendous dark space that they find that they can't get out of. And, I've been there, going through a divorce, having a marriage breakdown. Gemma's going through her own personal battles, and we just try, and you have to be there for other people regardless. And when you said about mindfulness and things like that, I mean, I saw something, I read something on an eyewitness page the other day, and in something that happened in Barnsley, and I had 94 comments regarding somebody's race, and it just got so out of hand. And in the end, I just deleted it and said, if people could just only be nice to people, then this world would be such a nicer place to live in.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree with that.
But I think a lot of the time people like to drag people down rather than building them up and saying, come on, we can do this together, let's get out of this, always be there to support somebody. And that's what friendship, and even if you don't know somebody, pay it forward. It's not hard, is it?
It's not hard. No, you've hit the nail on the head there, Jo. It's. Do you know what we should look out for each other. I mean, most of us, thankfully, it's the minority that don't, but the majority of us do, and sometimes it's the majority.
It's that minority, isn't it? It's the minority.
This is it. Yeah.
For everybody.
Absolutely.
Do you find, Nick, just going back to the mindfulness, because obviously I know that you do a lot of mindfulness, and I quite often read your quotes in the mornings. And if I'm totally honest, sometimes your quotes just hit the nail on the head, especially when, as Jo said, and as you know anyway, Nick, I am going through a bit of a rough time at the minute.
Yeah.
And when I read something that you've put on, sometimes it just gives me, that warm feeling inside. And I'm just like, that's set me up for the day now. I can handle whatever today is going to throw at me now, because I've just cleared my head. I've just spent that 10 minutes just by myself, no distractions, no phones, no TVs, just that 10 minutes by myself to just gather myself.
Yeah.
And
it's so important.
I do that before I go onto an event as well. Before every event, I will have a good 10, 15 minutes to myself where I just walk around the location and just switch off from everyday life and just clear myself. Do you find that mindfulness makes a difference when you are going into a paranormal investigation?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Because your mind, it needs to be at a certain state, and if you've got worries and it's all busy, then you're not going to be a good paranormal investigator, are you? So
no, exactly.
It's good. It's good to just take time. Even 5 minutes will work wonders. It really will. But it's not a one-off event. You've got to keep doing it, and the more you do it, it'll just become like second nature.
Do you find that obviously when you're feeling quite down and I'll say down because that's obviously, I'm not going to bang on about any sort of mental health issues or anything like that, but when you're feeling down, do you find that has an impact on your ability to investigate?
Definitely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I was very depressed at one point in my life, and I shut myself away. I didn't do anything. I did not do anything. And I don't think I could be in an investigation or an active member of an investigation if I was very, very down. There's just no chance.
No, I totally agree with that, to be honest, Nick. I've been lucky enough to be with you on an investigation, actually.
Where was that?
Falstaff.
Oh my goodness me! Fantastic.
With the lovely UK Haunted guys. I was with you that night.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah. Sure.
I'm just going to pretend, Nick, that you didn't have a clue. So,
didn't have a clue, Swiggy. Didn't have a clue.
We'll just rewind that. So I've been lucky enough to be on an investigation with Nick.
Yes, you have.
And I honestly believe that night was as good as it is purely because of the humour that you bring, because laughter is one of the best energies that you can put out there on an investigation. Or at least I think it is. A lot of people may disagree.
I personally think that as well. No, absolutely. I often, when I go to a new location that I've never been before and I haven't got a clue what's going on, I'm not a medium or anything like that, so don't think I am. I often sing, whether it be on. There was one place they had a flipping piano there, and what did I do? Yes, I was on the old piano, and it was wonderful. Yeah. But it's important. I think it's important because there's a lot of, it's knowing when to be serious, because my goodness me, you do have to be serious with this line of work. But if you can have a laugh along the way, my gosh, it really does help.
Well, you get so much more from being positive and from having that good attitude. You get more in the way of paranormal activity anyway. So if you're serious, and too serious, because we've all been on those investigations. I was on one and I nearly got kicked out of the investigation because I was laughing.
We know that too well, though, don't we?
I love it.
You see, and this is the problem. Sometimes I think you can be too strict and too straight-laced, if you like. I think you need to have a bit of humour, just in life in general, not even just in the paranormal world. You've got to have something to make your day that little bit better.
Of course you have, yeah. Well, I certainly need that in my life. I really do.
I think anybody needs some sort of laughter or something to make them smile in their life, because life is tough, isn't it? Let's face it. We all need something to smile about.
Well, I can tell you on that investigation that I did with Nick, he definitely made me smile. It was so funny. I walked down the stairs into, I want to say Henry VIII's room, and there was like a throne, and I just walked in to see Nick sat in this throne with his little crown on his head, and it was just like, oh my God.
Are you sure they weren't taking photographs?
Nick, stop making out that people were taking photographs. You just wanted to be king.
But you know what? That's great though, when people get into it like that, because like you say, there are people out there who are so serious. And I mean, you know, sometimes we've Gemma and I have been laughing on investigations, and it's, you know, I've eaten far too much Haribo at 1 o'clock in the morning, and you kind of sit there and think, oh my God, you know, why is nobody else laughing? And then I just resign myself to the fact that Gemma and I are just strange people and just
bonkers.
Do what you enjoy, guys, isn't it? You know what I mean?
We're just slightly bonkers. I think we've accepted that one now.
Welcome to the club.
I think do you know what? I think when you're in the paranormal field and you have good friends, and I mean, you know, Gemma and I met through chance more than anything, and you know, we are so close now, and it's just nice to actually have somebody who is on my wavelength. And you know, sometimes she just looks at me and she just laughs, and it's like, you obviously know what I'm thinking, and she's like, yeah, and I'm like, well, that's good then. But when you're on an investigation and people actually see the energy that's created between a group of friends, that's what generates that activity, I think. And obviously, like you're saying at the moment, you know, when you were making Gemma laugh by having the crown on your head and things like that, do you do that quite often to kind of spark a reaction?
Do you know what? I've always been the one that, I don't want to say the class clown, but I think that's the only way to describe it, really. Always been like that. I wouldn't suggest it's to create a reaction or say from calling out or anything like that, because when I do call out, I am serious with that side of things. I think it's just who I am, and you know, the observations around me. I'm very big on improvisation, so you could say something and straight away I'm there with something. But I don't know. You know, you making me question it now. I don't know.
Carl Hutchinson is in the chat room, Nick, and he just said that Nick is such a great guy and a good mate, and he's put in brackets, you can pay him later for those comments.
Oh, bless him. Tell him I'll send him a couple of Haribos.
But I think that's how you pay me, to be honest with you. It's you know, it's Haribo is, I think, my guilty pleasure on an investigation.
Oh, I'll have to. Do you know what mine is? Ferrero Rocher.
Oh, now you're talking, Nick.
Stop it.
Now you're talking.
I'll share one with you next time.
I don't want to share one. I want a full one. You'll take the bit with the nut in. That's the best bit.
Oh dear. So Nick, what sort of common mistakes by, you know, paranormal investigators have you come across?
Say that again. What mistakes?
What common mistakes? You know, what would you know, if you saw somebody doing something, would you obviously, what would you say is probably one of the worst things that you've seen?
To be honest with you, I haven't, Joe, because I think what works for one group,
Mm-hmm.
and if they're happy to do it, that's fine. Just go with it. I've not particularly seen any mistakes. I don't. Well, not the one that I can particularly remember. What about yourself? Have you seen any mistakes?
Not mistakes as such, more.
What, like, would you mean then, like things that I don't particularly agree with?
Yeah, more like
I
that,
was
yeah.
wondering where you was going with that line of questioning, Joe. I'm not going to lie.
I'm trying to be diplomatic, but I don't think it's going to be coming out anytime soon, is
No,
it?
chill. Where you
I might
stay?
as well just go cutthroat
Yeah,
straight into it.
yeah, straight in there. So have you seen anything then, Nick, that you're a bit like, oof?
Right. I'm not going to mention names. I'm going to mention locations. It was somewhere, somewhere in the United Kingdom. I can't give you the map coordinates. But no, it was with a particular medium, and he was very, very aggressive towards communicating with spirits. And I thought to myself, that's not you. You're putting that on. Whether he was putting it on or not, I don't know. But it didn't feel right for me to be watching that, and I didn't want to get involved.
Yeah.
So I scuttled off upstairs to a whole new different location. I hope that answers your question.
That was a very diplomatic answer there. But no, I'm with you on that one, Nick. When I see people getting too aggressive, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm okay with a little bit of provoking, but when it starts getting to the point where somebody is just being disrespectful, I too walk off, unless, of course, it's my investigation, and then I will say, guys, that's not really appropriate. Yeah. I think you have to give respect.
Of course it is, yeah.
I say it every week, every guest that comes on, I'm forever saying, and I suppose that the listeners at home are sick and tired of hearing me say, you have to give respect. But it's true. Respect Absolutely. Goes a long way. Whether you've passed over or alive, you still deserve and are entitled to respect.
Well, it's like the age-old thing that we've been talking about, isn't it? You reap what you sow. So you give out respect, you gain respect in return.
Yeah, totally.
But there are people out there who are quite derogatory and, in their way of questioning spirit. And, I've actually walked out of a couple of investigations and sat and thought to myself, this isn't how this should be done.
No, this is it. And it just spoils it. It spoils it because you're there. Because as a paranormal investigator, what we're doing, we're seeking the truth. We're trying to seek the unknown. Now, to do that, yeah, we can have a giggle, but there comes a point where, you've got to be respectful. And to be respectful is the way forward.
Exactly, without a doubt. So, Nick, is it, right, please correct me if I'm wrong, but Haunted Homes?
Haunted Homes UK?
Yes. Is that your company, or are you just working with them?
That is it's in pre-production. It will be in production in 2019, and I've come on board as the host and possibly doing a bit of co-producing as well. But yeah, we've done some just like online teaser videos.
Yeah, I have seen them.
Yeah, it's been going well. Yeah, I can't talk in detail about that because I'm in a bit of a clause with that at the moment.
Right, okay. I was just going to say, could you give us just like a little rundown? But if that's going to compromise you,
homes, yeah, no, it's fine. I mean, you can go. We've had people contact us, and they're claiming that they've got activity in their homes. Some are okay with it, some are not okay with it, and we're going to literally visit their homes and just document what's going on, and that's it, really.
So has all filming been done for that, or has that still got to be filmed?
No, it will be going into production in 2000.
Right, okay. So I can't ask you any more questions about that because I obviously do not want to get you in trouble.
Oh, don't you worry. I just say, look, guys, the girls wanted to know.
Blame us. Oh, bless you. So out of all the investigations that you've done up to now, Nick, what has been your favourite investigation?
Oh, gosh, that is a tough question. I would suppose the one that fascinates me the most, and it's to this day I can't explain it. I was at a place called the Ancient Ram Inn in Gloucestershire.
I love the Ram.
Yeah, what an underedge. And it was in the days when John Humphreys was still about, God rest his soul. And it was literally before filming. We was doing a walkthrough, and I was with a lady called Tracy. She was a local psychic and medium lady who had been brought into to film. And we was in the witch's room of all places, and we both looked at the wooden table that was in the centre of the room, and both together said, "Oh my gosh, did you see that?" And we both saw a flame about 2 or 3 centimeters come out of the table and then go back into the centre of the table. Unbelievable. And that,
my God.
Typical. We didn't have no cameras, we didn't have nothing.
That is usually the way, though, isn't it? I mean, we always take cameras. We've always got cameras set up, and we're always trying to document these experiences that are happening. But 9 times out of 10, it never happens on camera.
Yeah, that's right. And they say, for the people that are listening to this now, I could have just made that up. It could have been a very elaborate story. But hand on my heart, it wasn't. And it's like what I said at the beginning, at the top of the show. I can really only comment on things that I've witnessed and I've experienced firsthand. And that, my goodness, I certainly did.
Yeah. Well, I quite often find that you experience the most when you're either alone or in a very, very small group.
Yeah.
I tend to find that a lot more happens there. But going back to the Ram, I was holding an event there, and you was there, wasn't you, Jo? And Mickey and Alex from UK Haunted, they came. Yeah. Everybody else was outside. There was just me and Mickey in the actual building, and we was just Mickey was doing a Facebook Live, and I was just setting up glow sticks so people could see where low beams were.
Yeah.
So health and safety walk round.
Yeah.
And I was knelt on the floor. Mickey was just walking past, and then we heard this knocking. And he went, "Was that you?" And I said, "No." I said, "It must be one of those downstairs." And then we could hear everybody else outside talking. So Mickey ran downstairs, had a look, and there was absolutely nobody else in the building. Oh. And it was like, but we both quite clearly heard that. And Mickey actually caught the knocking on his video. And I was like, I'm so glad that you was on Facebook Live at that point, because otherwise that would have been evidence that we will have totally missed.
This is it. Yeah. Gosh.
I always think it's better, though, when somebody else is there to actually back up your story.
Oh, of course it is. Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Because a lot of people, we've had things happen. I've heard voices as clear as day. And it's when you actually turn around to that one person and say, "Did you just hear that?" And they say, "I'm here." And I was like, "Yeah, you heard it, didn't you?" And it's things like that you still, I find it a buzz even now. And I am a medium. So that's, that is such an amazing buzz when you actually hear that and somebody else hears it at the same time.
Absolutely. No, it's, I think I almost, well, I do. I don't, not almost feel, I do feel privileged when things happen, It's wonderful. I love it.
Do you have a favourite piece of equipment or a favourite? Where am I going with this?
Favourite?
I've lost my train. Yeah. We'll go with that one, Nick.
As the years have gone on, it's got more scientific, hasn't it? The field of the paranormal, and
very much so.
I personally, I'm a firm believer in just my mind and my senses, my feelings. That to me is great. But then again, when you get something like an Ovilus, or no, I don't want to say Ouija board, because again, Ouija boards are. It's just a tool. People that say, "Oh, they're just evil, evil, evil." For me, and again, I can only talk on my first-hand experience. I've used Ouija boards many a time on investigations, and I just simply think it is just another form of communication. Yeah. So moving forward, there are so many different. I mean, divining rods that it's just whatever you can get your hands on. Try it, because you never know. That could be the one that gets you the piece of evidence that you are really, really searching for. You just don't. That's the thing, though, with the paranormal. You just don't know. Nobody knows.
No, it'd be a wonderful world if we did. But unfortunately, we don't. We can't always guarantee what we're getting is actual spirit communication, if you like.
This is it. I mean, you were talking earlier, didn't you? You mentioned about UFOs and things like that. What's to say that what if we are communicating with something, it's not from this world, it's not from this planet.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. That's quite interesting, though, isn't it? Because we use, obviously, the spirit boxes. We use quite a lot of electronic equipment, and we as a race, obviously, technology's come on leaps and bounds anyway. Yeah. But what's to say that other races aren't far more advanced than what we are, and are able to communicate through those radio devices?
Well, I've always said this since I've been in the paranormal. I do not believe that we will fully understand, the ins and outs of the paranormal in our lifetime. I just don't.
No. I don't see how you can when, things progress every single day. You don't even have to say years. Every day there's something new brought into the paranormal world.
Yeah,
You still there?
Yeah, we lost you, Nick.
That's all right. I heard a bit of a
See, that's the beings from outer space, isn't it?
That's right, yeah.
That could be somebody trying to communicate with you right there, Nick.
Come forth, come down and communicate.
I was just about to say, I think that might be your stomach, Nick. Are you
it might be, yeah.
Oh, dear. So how important is it, Nick, for you to kind of network in the industry that we're in at the moment, like the paranormal and things?
Yeah, I think it is important, because the way I look at it is support everybody out there who's in the field. I'm not one of these, I'll do this, keep your nose out. Look, if I can help, I can help. You know what I mean? I just think that life's too flipping short. My God, we should be supporting each other.
Exactly. Yeah. It's the way forward, isn't it? I mean, I know lots of people from lots of different teams. I mean, when I first met you, Nick, you didn't have a clue that I work for a paranormal team and have worked for other paranormal teams. You didn't know that we do this radio show. Do you know what I mean? Because I just don't think that you need to say, oh, hello, my name's Gemma and I do this, this and this. No, I just think that's irrelevant. We're all there for the same thing.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And I it's like me, myself and you, Gemma, and Jo, and the lovely lady that I really can't remember her name, but she's doing
that will be Kerry.
Kerry. Is that Kerry with a blue towel on her head?
No, it's Gemma.
That's me.
Oh, that's you. Okay.
Nick, I can't believe you've just said that live on air.
Yeah, I know. But look, beautiful, I have to say. But what I'm saying is, the way I look at it, and again, I'm a firm believer that our paths were meant to cross.
Yeah, definitely. Me and Jo say that all the time for the simple reason me and Jo actually shouldn't have met. And it was purely by chance that we did meet, wasn't it, Jo? Literally, same as with you, Nick. It was purely just on an event that we happened to meet.
Amazing.
Yeah, I think everything, do you know what? And I'm going to say this out loud because I think everything is kind of mapped out for us. I do believe in fate, and I do believe that people come into your life when at the right time. It may be the wrong time, but you don't realize that at the time. But I am such a massive believer now in fate. Things happen for reasons, and that's
Yeah. No, totally agree, Jo. I really do.
Yeah. So what other investigations have you got lined up, Nick?
Got something hopefully being planned for Halloween, obviously, because it is Halloween.
Well, it'd be rude not to, really, wouldn't it?
So rude not to, yeah. And I'm literally just concentrating on doing some more voiceovers for people, which is really, really good because I was really actively every day doing voice. I mean, I was getting too much at one point. I thought, flipping heck, what the hell am I going to do?
You need
but,
a clone.
I'm happy. I'm happy, and that's the way forward for me. It really is. I love it.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
I thought I'd lost everybody then. Yeah, I did. It went very, very quiet.
A bit of a silence there, guys.
But no, that's not good, is it, Nick? That's not good for radio presenting, is it? Shocking. The service you're getting tonight, lovey, I'd write a complaint if I was you.
Oh, I love it. No, it's fantastic.
The service.
Do you mind? I mean, you're aware that I play the piano, don't you?
Yes.
No.
We love it. We love listening to these little jingles.
Well, I'll do something for you now. I don't know if it will work out or not live, but let's just
go
do it.
for it.
And this is a little piece that I wrote a few years ago. And the inspiration came from an investigation. And I was in a haunted kitchen. Flipping heck, and you had pots and pans flying all over the place. And this is what I wrote. It's called The Haunted Kitchen. The Haunted Kitchen.
Nick, do you know what? You are a very, very talented man, aren't you?
I love that you can play the piano. I just think it's such a talent to be able to do that. It's just unbelievable.
But you do realise that was me just messing about.
So the haunted kitchen is the haunted kitchen.
I'm in the haunted kitchen now, let me tell you that now.
Is your kitchen actually haunted, Nick?
Do you know what? I think everywhere is haunted. Regardless on the age of the properties. Again, what I said at the top of the show. It matters not, does it? The age of a property. Because I've been into a brand new build, and that's just as haunted as a 200-year house.
It's not necessarily the building, is it? It's the grounds.
That's right, yeah. And the people as well sometimes.
Yeah. Well,
spirits attach themselves, don't they, to people? So
they do, absolutely.
I say all the time when I pass over, I am going to Barbados. No, you think I'm joking, right? The poor bar in Barbados that I'm going to be haunting doesn't know what's going to hit it.
Oh, wow. Well, I'll come with you.
Come with me.
Gemma,
it's a free party.
Barbados.
Yeah.
We've got basement Barbados here. You could do that anytime.
No, honestly, though, everywhere does have the potential to be haunted.
Of course,
And a lot of people don't even realise that somewhere is haunted. Some people just think, oh, it's just the house, it's old, or it's just the pipes. Not necessarily. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm all for debunking. I like to try and debunk as much as I can.
Yeah.
I don't think it makes for a good paranormal investigator if you just instantly assume that something is paranormal.
Absolutely. And thank you for saying that.
It's true.
Yeah, it's refreshing.
I mean, if you're in a room and you hear a noise and everybody's like, oh, what was that? Well, actually, it was just the radiator pipes because the heating went off an hour ago and they're just cooling down. Do you know what I mean? Let's not get too excited about it. But that person just being touched on the shoulder over there, that definitely wasn't me, and it definitely wasn't the pipes. You know?
Right,
I think you have to be realistic.
Of course you do. Yeah.
You can't just assume that something's paranormal. That's where the investigation bit comes from, because you need to investigate it. What was that noise? Like, going back to Falstaff, Nick, was you with us when we heard the growl?
That was in the attic, wasn't it?
It was in the attic, yeah.
Yes, it was. Yeah, I was. Well, I certainly heard a growl.
I did. Chloe's in the chat room. Chloe did. Sue's in the chat room.
Chloe,
Sue
hi,
heard
Sue.
it. Yeah, there's a few people in the chat room tonight that
say though, listen,
was there,
guys.
and Carl was there. Carl.
Yeah. Can I just do a bit of a plug here? If anybody out there hasn't read Chloe's blogs, then my gosh, do it, because I tell you what, she's a credit to the paranormal world. I tell you that. Really,
definitely.
Really
Did you know Chloe was our guest as well? Chloe was our first ever guest on our show.
Fantastic.
For her blogs, yeah.
Oh, bless. That's wonderful.
Yeah, we love Chloe.
She's a cracker.
She is great, and she bless her.
And also, Nick, while we're on to plugs, I have put a link in the chat room for Haunted Houses UK and one for your Twitter page as well, because I know you are very active on social media, so I have done a little plug for you there too.
Oh, bless you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm not as active as I should be, but, life goes on.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Nick, you are quite active. You are on most days. There is usually something.
Something being posted.
So there's usually something being posted. I mean, whether it's just yourself wearing your daughter's sunglasses or an inspirational quote, there is something most days to put a smile on people's faces. What more could anybody ask for?
Beautiful. Thank you. Well, I'm glad you enjoy it. I really am.
It just goes back to what we were saying earlier, doesn't it? And it's not hard. It's not hard to put a smile on somebody's face, but just taking the time out and being willing to actually do that for somebody.
It's overwhelming, because people message me and they say, Nick, thank you for that. And I think, you know what? But hearing you say that it's bringing it home, and it does. I'm not just saying it. It does mean a lot to me.
Well,
so,
no, it's true. It's true, though, isn't it, Nick? I mean, going back to, I don't want to waffle on too much because nobody wants to know about woe is me. But as you well know, I have got issues going on. And you have actually taken the time just to say, how is things? How are you? And I think that just means so much to somebody, especially when you're not feeling great and you are having a bit of a rough time, for somebody to actually take 2 minutes out of the day to say, how are things?
Well,
that's the thing, though, isn't it, Gem? Because when something happens that's major and it's happening to somebody else very close to you, people tend to overlook you. And that's what they automatically ask, is everything all right with so-and-so? Is everything all right here? Nobody actually sits back and says, how are you?
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
It's true with illnesses. It's true with anything that anybody's going through. Nobody actually sits back and actually says, how are you? Do you want to talk about anything? Is there anything I can do for you?
Well, do you know what, Jo? I mean, I'm friends with Michael Barrymore, for instance. And he said this, again, whatever your views on Michael, I don't care. It's fine.
I like him. I do like him.
He's a great guy. But he always used to say to me, he gets asked, how are you, Michael? And there's only a handful that say, hang on, no, Michael, tell me, how are you? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think in today's hustle and bustle, most of us, the majority of us, are so busy. We lead busy lives. And we do forget to look after ourselves sometimes. That is a fact. We do.
Yeah.
Because we're constantly on the go. So bringing back to the point of mindfulness and just being at peace with yourself, it's a life changer. There's one particular person that talks to me, and he focuses on the negative so much. And I've been talking to him for about a year and a half now, and he's not changed. And I said, you won't change until you apply what I'm telling you to do. I'm not telling you to do it. I'm advising you. Because I've been there. I've been at rock bottom. I've been there. Look at me now. I'm loving life.
Yeah. And it's
I'm loving life with you two in the old. Let's say that.
Well, I think everybody in the chat room is definitely loving life today.
I'll love to everyone in the chat room. Cheer and wait to all of you in that chat room.
So, Nick, you've just given us your little motto. While you're live on air, can you just explain to everybody what it is and what it means?
Are you telling me you've got no idea what it means?
No, I know what it means, but people listening might not.
I
do, yeah. I do, only because I read it on one of your posts.
Basically, it's anything positive. It means whatever you want it to mean. I mean, I'll give you the backstory if we've got time. I used to go to a... This sounds so stupid, but I used to go to a kebab van and...
Kebab van?
Yeah, kebab van. Right, and he used to say, salt and vinegar on the chips, mate. And I used to say, cheer, mate. And it cracked up, right? And I tell you what, from that moment on, right, it can mean whatever you want. It's basically anything positive. It really is. So cheer, mate, to Gemma and Jo. Nick Stoppani is on the show. Cheer, mate, to love. Cheer, mate, to happiness. Cheer, mate, to each and every one of those people in the chat room tonight. Thank you. Love you all.
Oh, Nick,
you are funny.
That's what it means. I'm just telling you.
Honestly, you do. You make my day, Nick. And on that note, it is coming to the end of the show. So, Nick,
already?
thank you. Yeah, already. Time flies.
Thank you so. Listen, I'm honoured that you've even asked me to come on, and thank you so much. And I wish your show continued success. I really do.
Oh,
good luck next week.
Nick.
Flipping heck. I mean, it's going to be tricky next week, isn't it? With who you got.
Well, it's going to be a bit awkward next week.
Keep him in line.
Yeah, we've got that Mickey from UK Haunted next week, so you never know what you're going to get.
No, it's been a pleasure, ladies.
I'm sure Mickey knows we're only joking, but on a serious note, Nick, thank you so much for just being you and being amazing.
Pleasure. Thank you for asking me.
Yeah, thank you very much, Nick, for your time this evening.
And to all the viewers listening at home, there is shows on Parasearch Radio every single night of the week. You can listen on Facebook, Twitter, and pop on over to YouTube for all of the live streams that have gone out. And thank you so much for listening. Kerry, are you still with us?
Of course, have to press the buttons.
Yeah, I know. Would you like to do your closing bit?
Oh, my click like, share and subscribe.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Good night.
See you later, guys.
You're listening to Parasearch Radio, news, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. Parasearch UK Radio. Parasearch Radio, broadcasting to the UK and beyond.